Ladies and gentlemen, in the silent stillness of each moment, there exists a doorway. This doorway doesn't lead outward, it opens inward. It invites you to return to yourself, not in a rush or in a fight, but in the soft and quiet act of awareness. The beginning of all change, all understanding, all strength starts with this returning. There is so much noise around us. The world constantly demands performance, approval, achievement. We are trained to look outward to measure our worth, in accomplishments and recognition in relationships. But none of these will ever bring lasting peace if we are strangers to our own presence. When you are disconnected from yourself, everything becomes a search for validation. But when you come home to yourself, everything becomes an act of alignment. True self-love begins not with praise, but with presence, with the ability to simply sit with yourself, not to fix, not to judge, but to witness. It is in this witnessing that the layers begin to fall. The noise quiets, the false identities we wear begin to dissolve. In that silence, we begin to see what remains when all the masks are gone. Most people are not truly present. Even when their body is still, their mind is chasing the past or running into the future. They carry burdens from years ago or worries about things that may never come. Their breath becomes shallow, their sense dull, their heart closed. But the present moment is not in the past, and it is not yet in the future. It is here, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your awareness of simply being alive. And it is here and only here that you can begin to practice true self-love. This kind of love does not need affirmations shouted from a mirror. It does not require the approval of others. It is quiet. Like the roots of a tree growing deep beneath the surface, it is unseen but vital. It means being able to look inward honesty and say, this is who I am in this moment, and I accept myself fully. This acceptance is not the end. It is the beginning. From that ground of awareness, everything else can grow. To love yourself means to see yourself clearly, not as you wish to be, not as others want you to be, but as you are, with all your emotions, your doubts, your contradictions. Presence brings clarity, clarity brings truth, and truth allows love to be rooted in reality, not illusion. When you return to the present moment, you begin to notice. You notice how your breath rises and falls. You notice the tension you hold in your shoulders. You notice the way your thoughts carry you away and how easily your attention is stolen. And in that noticing, you reclaim your power. Because now you can choose. You can choose to breathe more deeply. You can choose to relax your body. You can choose to stop feeding the thought that tells you you're not enough. Presence is not a state you reach once and then maintain forever. It is a practice. It is a return again and again to this breath, this step, this moment. Each time you return, it becomes easier to stay. Each time you stay, you build the muscle of awareness. And with awareness, you begin to love yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you can finally see yourself. All real growth begins with seeing. If you cannot see yourself clearly, how can you know what to heal? How can you know what you need? How can you trust your own path? Self-love that is not rooted in presence is easily shaken. It depends on moods, on results, on others. But love that comes from awareness is like a mountain unmoved by storms. You don't need to run anymore. You don't need to fix everything at once. You don't need to become someone else. Begin by coming back to this moment. Sit, breathe, listen. This is the most powerful act of self-love you can offer. Sundar, the willingness to be here now with yourself. In presence, healing begins. In presence, peace arises. In presence, you discover that the love you've been searching for has always been within. And now, by simply being aware, you've begun the journey home. There comes a point in life when you realize that no one is coming to save you. No matter how much you are loved, guided, or supported, the deepest transformation will always come from your own steps, your own choices, and your own inner strength. Waiting for someone else to change your life is like standing at the shore and hoping the waves will stop for you. Life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause. And the only real power you hold is how you respond to this moment right now. Being your own hero is not a grand declaration. It's a quiet decision, a commitment to stop abandoning yourself. A willingness to take full responsibility for your energy, your thoughts, and your actions. Responsibility does not mean blame. It means responsibility, the ability to respond to what life presents with clarity and strength rather than falling into old patterns of helplessness or avoidance. It is easy to get caught in the habit of blaming circumstances or other people for your state of being. The mind finds comfort in pointing outward. If they changed, I would be happier. If the situation was different, I would feel better. But this way of thinking keeps you trapped. It gives away your power. When you rely on the outside to fix the inside, you become reactive, dependent, and fragile. To step into the role of your own hero is to turn that gaze inward and say, even if the world around me doesn't change, I will. This shift is where true inner freedom begins. You stop waiting, you stop needing, you start creating. Responsibility also means facing yourself with honesty. Where do you give away your power? Where do you betray your own boundaries? Where do you silence your voice just to be accepted? These questions are not to shame you. They are there to awaken you, because only when you see clearly can you begin to shift. The hero does not escape the pain of life. The hero learns how to carry it with strength. Not by suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine, but by learning how to stay centered even in the middle of chaos. This kind of strength is not found in control. It is found in surrendering to what is and choosing a wise response. Being your own hero also means becoming deeply intimate with your own journey. You stop comparing your life to others. You stop needing validation for every step. You understand that your path is sacred and no one else can walk it for you. What works for others may not work for you. What heals others may not be your medicine. This is why presence and responsibility go hand in hand. When you are present, you can respond with alignment. When you are responsible, you honor your own rhythm. There is great courage in choosing yourself, in saying, I will show up for me. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. There will be times when you feel tired, unsure, even broken. But the hero does not wait to feel perfect before acting. The hero understands that strength is built in motion. Even a small step, taken with intention, becomes a powerful act of self-respect. You may stumble, you may fall, but falling is not failure. It is feedback. It shows you where you still carry doubt, where you still seek comfort over growth, where you still want rescue instead of responsibility. And in each fall, there is a choice to stay down or to rise again, a little wiser, a little stronger. You are not here to be saved. You are here to awaken, to remember that everything you seek, confidence, peace, love, clarity, it all lies within you. And no one else can give it to you in a way that lasts. So stand tall, breathe deeply, and choose yourself again and again. This is not selfish. It is sacred. Because the more responsible you become for your own energy, the more peace you bring into the world. The more you honor your path, the more you inspire others to do the same. This is how heroes are born, not in perfect moments, but in the quiet commitment to rise, to grow, and to walk forward with courage. Many believe it must feel good, that it should always be soft, effortless, and filled with ease. But the truth is different. The art of self-love is not always gentle. It is not always sweet. More often than not, it is an act of great discipline. It is choosing what serves your highest well-being, even when your emotions or habits would pull you elsewhere. When you commit to loving yourself, it means you are also choosing to take responsibility for your own alignment, not only in thought, but in action. It means recognizing that your energy is sacred and how you manage it is a reflection of the respect you hold for yourself. Love in this form is not passive. It is intentional. It is a daily practice requiring awareness, structure, and strength. There will be days when it feels easier to give your time to distractions, to avoid the discomfort of your own silence. There will be moments when your body asks for rest, but your mind pushes you toward overachievement to feel worthy. There will be decisions to make, small ones and large ones, that ask you, will you honor your peace or will you trade it for approval? And in those moments, self-love is not a feeling, it is a discipline. To love yourself with discipline is to protect your inner space. It is to create boundaries that support your emotional health, even when they are misunderstood by others. It is the courage to say no when something feels out of alignment with your deeper values. It is the ability to walk away from situations, people, and thoughts that drain your clarity and disconnect you from your own path. Discipline also shows itself in how you care for your body. When you sleep on time, nourish yourself with presence and move with intention, not to look a certain way, but to feel connected with yourself, you are practicing self-love, not through indulgence, but through stewardship. Your body becomes your temple not because it meets a standard, but because you treat it with reverence. In the same way, your mind requires care. If you allow your thoughts to run wild with self-criticism, fear, and regret, you become lost in noise. Discipline in thought means choosing what to feel. It means pausing before reacting. It means learning to observe without judgment and redirecting your attention toward what strengthens your spirit, not what weakens it. Emotions come and go like the tide, but actions rooted in self-love do not shift with every emotional wave. They remain grounded in your deeper intention to live a life that reflects who you truly are. This consistency, built over time, forms the foundation of inner trust. And once you trust yourself, you become unshakable. Discipline is not the opposite of freedom. It is what makes freedom possible. When you no longer act out of impulse or habit, when you no longer need others to regulate your peace, when you show up for yourself even when no one is watching, you begin to experience a quiet power. That power is born from the discipline of self-love. The world may try to convince you that love is selfish. But loving yourself deeply allows you to give from a place of fullness, not from a place of depletion. When you are grounded, centered, and disciplined in how you care for yourself, your presence becomes healing, not only for you, but for others. This discipline is not about control. It is about connection. It is remembering again and again what truly matters. It is being aware of your patterns and choosing a different response when needed. It is forgiving yourself for the moments you forget and gently returning to practice. Over time, the effort you put into loving yourself with discipline becomes a natural rhythm, like breathing, like walking. Oh. It no longer feels like work. It becomes who you are. And in that space, you meet yourself not as someone to fix, but as someone to honor. The practice is simple, but it is not easy. Yet every day you return to it, you strengthen your inner foundation. And from that place, life flows differently, more clearly, more intentionally, more peacefully. This is the quiet strength of disciplined self-love, a path walked with presence, patience, and purpose. There are moments in life that arrive uninvited, moments filled with uncertainty, pain, or deep disappointment. When these moments appear, the natural tendency is to resist them, to run from them, or to wish them away. But no matter how far you try to go, the pain does not dissolve simply because you ignore it. It remains until you choose to face it. And in that decision, to sit with your discomfort rather than escape it, you begin to understand that pain, doubt, and struggle are not enemies. They are teachers. They come not to destroy you, but to reveal you to yourself. They show you the parts of your mind that are still trapped in fear. They uncover the wounds you have tried to hide beneath the surface. They make you honest. In this way, struggle is not a punishment. It is an invitation to awaken. When you feel emotional pain, it is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a message that there is something within that is ready to be seen, acknowledged, and understood. Just like physical pain alerts you to an injury, emotional pain alerts you to an area within you that needs attention. The pain speaks not in words, but through sensations, thoughts, and feelings. And when you slow down enough to listen, you begin to realize how much wisdom it holds. Doubt too serves a purpose. It does not always appear to block your path. Sometimes it shows up to make sure your steps are conscious. It challenges your assumptions, your attachments, and your expectations. It forces you to ask, is this really what I believe? Is this truly the direction I wish to go? Or doubt can refine your clarity if you let it. The struggle, the pain, none of it is permanent. It passes like clouds in the sky. But how you respond to it determines what it leaves behind. If you avoid it, suppress it, or try to distract yourself from it, you delay your growth. If you face it, breathe through it, and learn from it, you evolve. You become more rooted, more resilient, more compassionate toward yourself and others. Sitting with your pain requires patience. It is not a quick process. The mind may want to rush to a solution to fix it, to feel better instantly. But healing is not about speed. It is about depth. It is about allowing the experience to move through you without judgment, without trying to label it good or bad. You simply let it be what it is, a part of your human experience. And in the stillness, something begins to shift. You notice that you are not the pain. You are the one who is witnessing it. You are the space in which the pain arises and falls. This realization creates distance. And with that distance, you gain perspective. You are no longer drowning in emotion. You are observing the waves. And as the observer, you have the choice to meet the moment with calmness instead of chaos. These inner storms do not come without purpose. Often, they cleanse what no longer serves you. So, they shake loose your rigid beliefs, strip away attachments that have become heavy. They challenge your identity, not to destroy it, but to expand it. Every difficulty you move through consciously strengthens your foundation. And with each experience, you carry more wisdom, more presence, more understanding. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are capable of holding your pain with grace. You are capable of being kind to yourself even when you feel broken. And the truth is, the more willing you are to sit with what hurts, the more peace you find. Not because the pain disappears, but because you no longer fear it. It is easy to embrace joy, but true growth comes from learning to embrace pain with the same presence. When you no longer run from discomfort, you open the door to your own transformation. You begin to see that every moment, even the difficult ones, carries within it a gift, an insight, a lesson, a shift in perception. This is how you evolve, not by avoiding what is difficult, but by walking through it with awareness. Pain becomes the guide, doubt becomes the mirror, struggle becomes the training ground, and you, steady and open, become the student of your own experience. The mind often sees the shadow as something to be feared, an aspect of ourselves we try to suppress or deny. But the very presence of a shadow is proof of something far more powerful. There is light within you. Without light, the shadow cannot exist. So instead of running from what appears dark, what if you turn toward it with openness? What if you recognize that what you resist is not a threat, but a part of you that longs to be seen? You are not here to be flawless. You are here to be whole. And wholeness includes everything: the joy and the sadness, the certainty and the doubt, the strength and the struggle. When you deny parts of yourself, when you push your pain or imperfections into the corner, they do not disappear. They simply wait patiently for your attention. And often they return not as whispers, but as suffering. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your reflection. It shows you where you have hidden from yourself. It reveals the beliefs, habits, and patterns that operate in the background, often shaping your life without your awareness. These aspects of the self are not evil. They are unintegrated. They are the parts you were taught to hide, judged for expressing, or too afraid to confront. But the moment you begin to bring light to those places, you begin to reclaim your energy. Awareness is the first step. To sit quietly and ask yourself, what am I unwilling to look at within me? Where am I reactive, defensive, or triggered? These questions are not meant to make you feel ashamed. They are meant to free you. Because when you bring consciousness to the shadow, you loosen its grip. You move from being controlled by it to understanding it. And understanding brings compassion. Compassion is the key. Without it, self-awareness becomes self-criticism. You must learn to meet your shadow, not with judgment, but with gentleness. Say, yes, this too is a part of me. I may not like it. On this, I may not yet know how to change it, but I will not reject it. In this space of non-rejection, transformation begins. What you accept, you can understand. What you understand, you can heal. There is a hidden strength in looking directly at what you once feared. It gives you clarity. It deepens your presence. It makes you more conscious of your responses and more in tune with your inner world. You begin to notice when old patterns arise. You begin to sense when something within is unresolved. And instead of reacting blindly, you pause. You observe, you choose differently. That pause, that awareness is your power. You are not broken because you carry a shadow. You are human, and the more honest you meet yourself, the more gracefully you evolve. You stop needing to be perfect. You stop pretending to be something you're not. You drop the masks. You return to what is real. And in this authenticity, a deeper peace begins to arise. Not because you've eliminated your flaws, but because you've made peace with your complexity. The light within you does not mean never feeling pain or doubt. It means you recognize these emotions without being consumed by them. You hold them with kindness, knowing they are temporary visitors. You no longer fight the waves of your experience. You learn to serve them. The more light you bring to your inner world, the more space you create for growth. This work is quiet. It is not always seen by others. It may not bring applause, but it brings integrity. It brings inner alignment. And when you walk through life with that alignment, you radiate something rare, presence. Not the presence that demands attention, but the presence that settles the room because it is rooted in truth. The shadow loses its power when it is acknowledged. It becomes a source of insight, a reminder that your journey is not about perfection, but about presence. Every time you turn inward with courage, every time you choose to see what you once avoided, you make the light within you stronger. Not because you are trying to be good, but because you are choosing to be whole. And so, the next time you notice your shadow, whether it shows up in anger, insecurity, or fear, pause, breathe. Remember, it only exists because there is light behind. And that light, steady and quiet, is your true nature. There is a deep illusion that haunts many people on the path of personal growth, the illusion of perfection. The belief that one day you will arrive at a final destination where there is no more pain, no more struggle, no more confusion. So this mindset creates pressure, it creates urgency. It tells you that until you reach that perfect version of yourself, you are somehow not enough. But the truth is this: life is not about perfection, it is about presence. And self-love is not about becoming flawless. It is about learning to show up for yourself consistently, gently, and honestly, regardless of where you are. When you understand this, everything begins to shift. You stop racing towards some ideal version of yourself and instead begin to nurture the one who is here now. You become less focused on fixing yourself and more focused on supporting yourself. You no longer measure your worth by progress alone. You begin to value the sincerity of your effort, the courage to begin again, the willingness to keep walking your path with humility. The journey of self-love is full of beginnings. You will make mistakes. You will forget your worth. You will fall into old patterns, and that is not failure. That is being human. What matters most is your ability to return, to remember what matters, to forgive yourself, to take another step forward. Each return strengthens your relationship with yourself. It teaches you that love is not about how many times you fall, but about your devotion to rising. You are not a project to be completed. You are a living being, constantly evolving, constantly shifting. Who you are today may not be who you are tomorrow. And that is beautiful. That is growth. That is growth. That is life. So rather than judging yourself for where you are not, learn to be present with where you are. Meet yourself with patience. Ask, what do I need in this moment? And then listen, not to the voice of fear or comparison, but to the quiet, steady guidance that lives within you. There will always be someone ahead of you, someone who seems calmer, stronger, more disciplined, more enlightened. But their journey is not yours. Their lessons are not yours. You cannot compare your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 10. To do so is to dishonor your unique rhythm. You are not here to be someone else. You are here to be fully yourself, and that requires attention, honesty, and self-compassion. Progress is not always visible. Some of the most important transformations happen quietly, beneath the surface. They happen when you choose silence instead of reaction. When you speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. When you rest instead of pushing through. When you forgive even though your heart still aches. These all unseen acts of presence are seeds. Over time, they grow into strength, into peace, into deep, unwavering love for who you are becoming. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. You do not need to change everything at once. You do not need to have all the answers. You simply need to show up every day with presence, with the willingness to take one small step in the direction of your well-being. Some days that step will feel strong and confident. Other days it will feel uncertain and slow. But every step matters. Every step teaches you something about your inner world. You must learn to stay with yourself when things are hard. That is where true love is tested. Not when everything feels easy, but when you feel broken, unsure, or lost. To be able to say, even now, I will not abandon myself. That is strength. That is love. And it is in these moments that your inner foundation is built, not through perfection, but through presence. Through presence. You are allowed to be a work in progress and worthy of love at the same time. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to not have it all figured out. What matters is your honesty, your devotion, your willingness to continue even when the path is unclear. The light you seek is not at the end of the road. It is in every step taken with awareness. So be kind to yourself. Let go of the pressure to become someone else. Begin where you are. Stay with yourself through the changes, through the uncertainty, through the discomfort, Love yourself not because you've arrived, but because you are committed to the journey. That commitment, that consistency, that presence, that is the true art of becoming your own hero.